Before I get started on my ideas for Ace Combat 7, I would like to preface this. If you want to see Ace Combat 8 succeed, I really think we need to spread this around. Get this idea out there. So, if you would, please spread this video around. Maybe we can get the ideas out there and maybe just have a glimmer of hope that Namco might actually care about these ideas. You've probably seen my suggestions and ideas about the next Ace Combat video, which I did have some story ideas, but I do think I would like to elaborate a bit more because I think Ace Combat 8 has a lot of potential as a story, but it needs to use that potential. What I'm about to explain is going to have a lot of fan service, if you will. But I think it's what the series needs. I think it's what needs to happen. So it needs to have, and I'm going to actually have to compare quite a bit of this to Sonic because that's where a few of my ideas are coming from, and you'll probably tell when I elaborate more. So let's get started. So my ideas with the story, and the reason I say Sonic would be like a good basis for my thoughts, is because of what Sonic Generations did. If anybody or any of you have played that, you know that it had a lot of fan service that was very fan dedicated, had a lot of remixed tracks, and overall was a service to the fans, if you will. And one of the best games in the Sonic series, as far as I'm aware. So, what we need to happen is we need to have some sort of story where every single card is at play, every single ace is brought out of the woodworks, and everything is on the table. What needs to happen is we need to have three stories, three main character stories. I've discussed this with Rogers, Andrew Rogers, back, but we need to have three separate stories: a mercenary story, a soldier story, and a knight story. Mercenary will be Cypher, and we'll say that's the canon run through. Soldier will be Mobius 1, and knight will be Blaze. With each story, we need to have, intros for each character, and they need to intersect. The stories need to intersect. And I think, well, I'll get into this later about what I think should happen at the end, or at least something that I have an idea for. So, when you select a character, you should get an intro cutscene. For Cypher, for Mobius 1, for Blaze. And the character should be shown. The character should be given a voice. And what I think should happen in each cutscene is each character who the story was revolved by, I guess, meets them. For example, Mobius 1 is met by the kid, or whoever he is, at the time of Ace Combat 8, which I've also said probably should take place in 2024. That's been my idea. Well, not my idea. I did get that idea from somebody else. But it should take place at least a few years after Ace Combat 7. And so yeah, the kid for Ace Combat 4 is Mobius 1's person, and each person needs to get the character involved in the conflict of whatever is going on. Somehow. The kid from Ace Combat 4 will meet Mobius 1. In Cypher's story, I think Thompson is the reporter's name, will meet Cypher. He'll finally find Cypher. Maybe in his home or something, I don't know. And Cypher's probably going to have to be pretty old. So, and Blaze will be met by Jeanette. Jeanette will, I don't know, explain some stuff or whatever. Because Jeanette seems to be digging into everything. Like, isn't he the guy who did stuff in Ace Combat X? Wasn't he like a hero in Ace Combat X? So, him uncovering some secret plot isn't exactly far-fetched. And maybe in Blaze's story, he's still friends with Swordsman and Grimm, and I guess you can go either way with Nagase, but yeah. And maybe we can get some payoff as to what Nagase thought of Harling being dead. Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. So the idea for the conflict that I had is some conflict that's so massive, so big, that it leads into Ace Combat 3, I guess. Some threat so massive that the three aces have to get involved. And it could be Belka. It could be something else. But I don't know. I don't know the reason everything happened in Ace Combat 3. I don't know if like the reason everything happened there was because of some cataclysmic event, but I don't even know what Ace Combat 3 really happened there, but maybe it just is the Belkins going at it again. Who knows? Maybe there's a V3 or something, or maybe the Belkins have amassed a force so massive that I don't know. And you could include rival aces from Ace Combat Zero. You could include many people. I think that Cypher should at least get to meet Pixie again, but I'll dive deeper into that later. But yeah, so I guess I'll just expand on the story from here. I guess Blaze would probably, with Jeanette, go meet somewhere with Swordsman and Grimm and Nagase, and they'd all, converge, discuss what to do. Because we all know that Jeanette probably figured out something he shouldn't have. Maybe Pops would still be there or something. Anderson's dead, I think. So yeah, maybe Bartlett's still alive. And yeah, that would be, I guess, the beginning of Blaze's story. Maybe the kid talks to Mobius 1 about something he saw, or discusses some stuff with him. I don't know. That'd be up to the writers. And I do want to leave things a little vague because, I mean, you can't have a story that everybody knows. But yeah, this is very important stuff. But anyway, I guess after the intro, you get put on your first mission or something. I'd say that maybe I don't know how you get the characters involved in their individual squadrons or whatever, or where they get like put in the military. But what would need to happen is Cypher, like each one would have three different play styles. Cypher would have a wingman. The Rosgraves would be a squadron, and Mobius 1 would be solo. And maybe he'd be in the IUN, I don't know. But Cypher would probably call old friends, maybe back at Axe and Hammer. And Blaze, I don't know. Maybe Blaze would contact Pops or something. Maybe he has some connections that could help out. But what I think should happen is like in some of in later missions or something, in maybe aerial engagements or later on, maybe each character gets involved. And by the way, I do think that they should ally with each other during parts of the story. And if you do that, if Mobius 1 and say Blaze allied for a bit or teamed up for a little bit, you need to make the AI really good. Like seriously, you need Mobius 1 to be competitive. If he's your ally or something, you need Cypher to be competitive, on par with the player. So that needs to be done. And yeah, and we can't just use crappy scripting. We need to stop with the scripting stuff. But yeah, maybe when they see like maybe they get their kill stolen by, or maybe Cypher gets one of his kills stolen by Mobius One or Blaze or something, and Jesus says, "Who is that guy?" or something. But each character needs to talk. That's very important. We need Blaze, Cypher, and Mobius One to talk if this story's going to work. No more silent protagonists. We just need to open up more with that. So yeah, each story, I guess, would. I actually wonder how they'd pull off like the mercenary soldier and night route again, because I actually think it'd be very interesting to explore how Cypher actually is as a person. Because if he's a mercenary and he stayed mercenary throughout the course of Zero, that's very interesting. Because that makes him out to be a pretty bad guy. And I've heard that the reason Sorcerer said we will eliminate the false hero is because Cypher is a false hero. I heard that from Rogers, I know that. Because he just destroyed everything. He was merciless. And I'd say Blaze showed the most mercy to his enemies. That makes sense. I mean, they didn't even really want to engage in that war. They wanted it to end quickly. And Beast One never really had that sentiment. But yeah. So I'd say at the end of each story, you I don't know what you'd do, but I do know what I want in the final story segment. After you play all three stories, there should be a final story segment, just like in Sonic. Or Sonic 06 is probably the best example of this, even though that game is widely hated, but that's the best example I can use. 3 stories, 3 paths, and once they're all done, there's the final story. And the final story, or the final segment, everybody should team up. Blaze, Mobius One, Cypher. Everybody should team up. And you get to choose who leads. You get to choose who you play as. And you can choose Blaze, and you can choose between Blaze, Cypher, Mobius One, and whoever you choose, the other 2 are your wingmen. And then a cutscene plays where, a bunch of aircraft come in. Like, just imagine this. There's a musical cue maybe reminiscent of, I don't know, Horizon? No. Megalith? I don't know. It's kind of, it would be up to Kyuki, but anyway. Like, a bunch of people come in. Like, say, the Rosgrees come in, maybe with some cool voice lines. Then Pixie comes in. Omega 11 and Viper Squad comes in. And then, maybe some of the rival aces from Ace Combat Zero come in somehow. I don't know. Maybe Talisman and Shamrock. Well, maybe not Shamrock. He doesn't have legs. But some of the Ace Combat 6 people show up. Trigger shows up. Strider Squad shows up. Cyclops shows up. That would be probably the best scene in Ace Combat history. All of these pilots coming together and you run the entire thing. And could you imagine the awesomeness? Say you choose Mobius One for that final story segment, and then Sky Eye, because we have to have the same AWACSes, let's be honest. Thunderhead needs to reconcile with Blaze. Sky Eye needs to be the AWACS no matter what for Mobius One. And maybe Eagle Eye for Cypher. But could you imagine all those aircraft following, and the music comes in, and cues are the right way or whatever, and then Sky Eye says all aircraft follow Mobius One? People would probably say that's the rightful choice. Or maybe all aircraft follow Cypher or something. I don't know. Or follow the Golem team or something. Maybe whichever ace you choose, everybody, or like the aces that apply to them would get behind them. Like Omega 11 and Viper Squad would get behind Mobius 1, and the Rosgrees would get behind Blaze or whatever. And obviously Pixie would get behind Cypher. And obviously, when Pixie came in, he'd have to say, "Yo, buddy's still alive." Yeah, well, you'd have to have a lot of remix tracks. I think you'd have to have a lot of different flashback songs. And yeah, that's a lot of my ideas for story. I think this could really, really save Ace Combat 8 if they did it, because it's such a good idea. And I don't know how much resources or how much this would take, but if you implemented this the right way, if you did it the right way, it could be the best Ace Combat. You could have the best Ace Combat in history. I mean, just imagine that. Just after all that what you've been through with each Ace, through each story, and then you have that final story segment, the final battle, all or nothing. Maybe the stakes are higher than what Avalon was. Avalon was pretty bad. I mean, Avalon, I don't know if you can get worse than Avalon. That was the end of the world stakes. Well, at least that's what, at least that's what everybody else said. Well, that's what PJ said. You could even have, you could even have Pixie talk about PJ. Show remorse of what he did to PJ. Maybe Wizard 1 shows up or something. Maybe he'd be part of this new organization. Or maybe Belka or whatever, I don't know. Maybe it's a world of no boundaries resurfacing. Because I guess the world's run by companies in Ace Combat 3, so that could be the case, since there are technically no borders, as far as I'm aware. But, I don't know. But if you're going to have a final boss, you need to have something better than just 2 planes or whatever was in Ace Combat 7. I don't really care anymore. But you'd probably have to have Soul Squadron show up. I guess I forgot about them. Not really a surprise, though. Yeah. So, that's probably the bare minimum for Ace Combat 8. If I want to talk about other things, I had an idea for the multiplayer. We need to have maybe a flashback mode for the multiplayer. Co-op missions, please don't do competitive co-op. Co-op missions where teamwork is required. Like, for example, in the original Excalibur, not Infinity. I don't want to hear about Infinity. There were 4 different jammers. If you had 4 players, each representing a different person, like maybe there's a Cypher, there's a Pixie player, there's a PJ, and I don't know what the 4th one would be. One of the Crow members, but they'd all be there. They could do. Everybody would go to a different jammer, and maybe you'd have to beef up Excalibur. Sorry. Yeah, and Igion would be another good one. There'd be a Talisman. There'd be a Shamrock. There'd be whoever the other people are. I don't know. I haven't played Ace Combat 6 in a while. And another good one, 4 Horsemen. That would definitely require teamwork. I think that would be really fun to do with teamwork, since nobody can screw up, and if you need to call off an attack, I don't know why you need to do that, though. Don't pull a Nagase. Nagase didn't do anything wrong. It was always Grim or Chopper. Yeah, those are some of my ideas, so please spread this video around. This needs to circulate. If we can get this somehow to Namco, and maybe they care at least a little bit, this is what Ace Combat 8 needs to do. We need to have this much fan service, and we need to have a good story. We need to have something. We haven't had a good Ace Combat game since 2000. 6? Is that when Ace Combat? I think it was 2006 when Ace Combat Zero came out. And if that's the case, it may have been a little bit. It may have been 2007, but I think it was 2006. If it was 2006, that doesn't make it any better. That's 13 years. 13 years since a good Ace Combat game. Because I don't count Ace Combat 6 as a good Ace Combat game. Nowhere near Holy Trinity levels. And definitely not quality story. Not really that good gameplay either. But we have had a crappy game that pretty much is widely hated. Assault Horizon. We've had Infinity, which was terrible because it was free to play. It tried fan service, but because it was free to play, it didn't really mean anything to me. We haven't, and then we didn't have an Ace Combat game till 7, which again is terrible. It's not a good game. And I guess X counts. X was good, but it's not a main series game, and it's definitely not accessible. Nobody has a PSP I know of, and if they do, they probably don't play Ace Combat X much. I don't know, but I certainly can't emulate, and it's just not really worth doing. So Ace Combat X might be considered the last good one, but probably not Holy Trinity levels. But yeah, another idea I might have is on the air-to-air engagement level. Each one needs to play their respective air-to-air engagement level. From that might sound weird, but like say if there's an air-to-air specific level like Mayhem or Kimona, it needs to play for each ace. So on that mission, that would be an Ace Combat 8, Mayhem, or maybe a remix of it, plays for Cypher, and Kimona plays for Mobius 1. I don't know what would play for Blaze. Maybe Super Sludge? Super Sludge. No, not Super Sludge. That's from Payday 2. Super Circus. That's it. Super Circus might play. I don't know. Maybe a new track. Who knows? So yeah, please get this video spread around. This needs to happen. Namco needs to just get together. Give the fans what they want, and a story like this. And again, I left it pretty vague. I've had ideas in the past, like sometimes I get put on the spot here, but I've had ideas in the past that would, tighten up the story. But I'm trying to be a little more vague as well because that gives Namco room to breathe to make their story. If they do this, which they honestly have to if they want to have any chance of success with Ace Combat 8, it will be a smash hit with the fans. And they have to get better mission designers, and they have to get more composers. Don't make Kiki the sole composer again, please. He can't do it alone. If you guys have seen, you can watch in the credits from my English-Japanese version playthrough. There were like 5 or 6 composers for Ace Combat 5, and Ace Combat 5 probably has the best soundtrack in all the games, is the most quality. I mean, it's up to opinion whether or not you like the songs, but you gotta admit the quality is there. Each track is quality, and each track fits each mission. All the emotions for each mission fit. Every track fits in its place. And I just... And also, in sports games, they have some sports games, like Madden had this back in the day, NASCAR had lightning challenges, the NASCAR games. Do like moments in time, or maybe, different flashbacks. Have flashback missions, maybe remaster some missions. Let us play old moments. Say, that's the third mode maybe, if you don't want to do something else. Do flashbacks for, like say you get to play Mayhem as Cypher, or you get to play, you get to play Kimona as Mobius 1, or even replay The Journey Home, or play Ancient Wall, stuff like that. Yeah, remaster submissions, and obviously, give us give us with the planes. Give us so much more. Seriously, let us choose more than one emblem if we're not using a custom skin. And if we are using a custom skin, give us more than just like one custom skin I guess classic skin per aircraft. Let us play as Rut, for example. Let us play as Schwartz. Let us play as Yellow 13, which was there in Ace Combat 7. But let us play as historical crap. Let us play as Silver. Cypher. Give us, well, I mean, if you're doing 3 different stories for, each character or whatever, you're gonna have 3 different craft. That needs to be the case. You're gonna have, 3 different sets. So like you'll have the Mobius, emblems or whatever on Mobius' story, Blaze. In fact, that could actually be the 3 different, like, how we have Mage Squadron or a Mage Squadron, Spare, and Strider for Ace Combat 7. We could have Mobius 1, Blaze, and Cypher as the 3, skins for Ace Combat 8. And that would actually work pretty well in their favor because people would actually care a lot. Because if Blaze's skins are all black, like let's assume they're actually sticking with the Rosgrease stuff, we can have all Rosgrease planes again. And that would be awesome. The F-22 looks amazing with the Rosgrease skin. I just love how it looks in that game with the Rosgrease skin. A black F-22 with red on it looks awesome. Best skin, or one of the best skins in the game in Ace Combat 5. Yeah, so, yeah, please do that. Yeah, so, give us more Legacy skins on that. So, yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. So, yeah, please spread this video around. This stuff needs to get out there if we want any chance of Ace Combat 8 being a success. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not very pleased with Ace Combat 7, and it's only going to get worse from here if we don't speak up. I don't get this community. Nobody's speaking up. No, it's like nobody even cares about this game. The devs certainly don't. And it seems like the fans don't either. Why do we not want this to succeed? Why do we not want to make this better? I mean, seriously, go to Ace Combat fans' channel. None of them are nothing is a critical eye of Ace Combat 7. And if we're going to make Ace Combat better, if we're going to make Ace Combat great again, we need to stop with the meminess, if you know what I mean. Star Wars Episode 3 was memes, but it really felt like that's what they were going for, that they wanted to make it memey. So stop with the memes. Stop trying to make every line of dialogue a joke. It just doesn't work. The reason Ace Combat 0 is so good is because all the dialogue is good. You can make fun of good dialogue, but don't make the dialogue easy to make fun of because that's what the way you want it to be. Seriously, just stop with the meme stuff. Stop with the jokes. Stop making everything a joke in Ace Combat. Anyway, that's all I got to say for now. So, yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Maybe you agree with what I said. Maybe you don't. But I think this is the story we need for Ace Combat 8. So, if we're going to have any chance of the next Ace Combat game succeeding, we need this story. Maybe another story, but honestly, this is the story we want. This is the story we need. And let's get it out there. Let's spread this around. So, yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Stay frosty, and the price is right.